Hey there, Libra. Welcome to your reading for the week of October 20th. This week, we're going to jump right in here. You have this stillness in this trust card. I feel like you need to trust that things are moving forward, even if it doesn't feel like it. With that stillness card, it's like that stillness card basically says that you are in a period of stillness, of course. And, what I would say here is that even though it might not feel like you are making progress, you are. The other thing with the star card here is that sometimes I feel the universe wants us to take a break, even though we maybe feel like we can't, right? Which is very hard to do, especially, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Like if you have bills to pay and things like that, obviously it can be a little bit more of a challenge to heal or take a break or to put yourself in a position where you can take a break. But it's almost like that's exactly what you need to do to be able to get ahead in this reading. So, don't be afraid of carving out a little bit of time for yourself at this time here, Libra. And, that's really what I would be focusing on in the first place. You have the Star, the Eight of Cups, and the Four of Swords in your current general energies. Star is still very good. The Star can represent hope, faith, renewal. It's almost like something is giving you hope this week. You also have the Sun, which is very positive as well, Libra. The Sun makes the entire reading a little bit more positive as well. So I feel for a lot of you that there could be something that is making you hopeful. I would also say that this is going to be after a long-ass journey that you've been on, Libra, with the Hermit. It's interesting. We have two cards of light here, that are both connected to the Hermit. The Hermit has the star in his lantern, and he needs to shine that star out all over the place. He needs to shine his inner light. That's his next step. And, the Hermit kind of represents having been through a dark night of the soul. Your very next card is the Eight of Cups, walking through darkness, right? He is walking into darkness. He has no clue where he's going. He's walking away from these 8 cups because those 8 cups no longer serve him. And I do feel like the Eight of Cups is saying, don't settle for less in your life. Don't settle for less than you deserve. And he maybe is walking towards the Nine of Cups, but he doesn't know that. As I always say, he is, the Eight of Cups is really about taking the risk of not settling, which you might be saying oh, of course I would do that. But it's how many of you have stayed stuck in a relationship that you knew wasn't right? We've all done it. And so I'm not criticizing you. I've done it, right? So, when we do that, we are basically saying to the universe, I deserve less. And so I feel this is saying, and I'm just using love as an example. This could be anything in your life. And I feel like it's saying you need to make sure to that you are walking away from things that no longer serve you. You have the Four of Swords next. So again, I do feel the first row is definitely encouraging you to take a little bit of a break this week, even if you feel like you can't, because he's hoping and praying for a blessing. There's a person right here who is blessing this other person over here. And so the Four of Swords can represent a blessing, but sometimes the blessing comes from taking a break, right? Sometimes the blessing comes from not trying to force things to happen. I've been in this place in my life, Libra. I always say, when I was younger, I had a very successful business and it failed. And for 4.5 years, I did nothing with my life, which is actually not true because I was the entire time I was trying to force things to happen. Nothing worked. Nothing happened during that time because I was pushing, right? And so sometimes I think the break or taking a break or not forcing things to happen is really the thing that needs to happen for us to get the idea, for example, in the first place that will set us free. And the thing that set me free over 11 years ago now was this channel, right? I started this channel at the end of that period of time and it just took off. But, the funny thing is I started this channel as a hobby. It wasn't something that I thought was going to be serious, right? It was something that I didn't have to force. It just flowed, right? And so, again, I think that there could be something in that for you this week that sometimes what we actually need to do in life is flow or, is get into the flow. With the Star, you have the Five of Cups. Yeah, it's Five of Cups is regrets and sadness. He is sad that he no longer enjoys something right here. Probably the Eight of Cups. Probably something that you have to walk away from. He has these 2 cups behind him and also this bridge in the castle. The Five of Cups is about gratitude. If you can practice gratitude with the 5 cups and be grateful for what you do have, and instead of trying to make something fit in your life with that 8 of cups, then usually you get something better. So I feel this is definitely encouraging you to kind of like turn around and focus on something that you do have in your life. With the 8 of cups, you have the 2 of wands. Yeah, 2 of wands like says you have to take the lead, on something. And especially if you're like thinking about walking away from something, I feel this is saying that maybe you are the one that is going to have to do the walking away. This could be love for some of you, and where it's like you're going to have to be the one to take the leap of faith. For others, this could be anything else that you're trying to change. I also don't necessarily think this is walking away. The interesting thing about the 2 of wands is that this wand stands on its own. Sometimes the 2 of wands can represent a bunch of work that we've already done. And we could be thinking about starting something new, but we could be afraid of leaving that security behind, right? It would be like if I were to start a new YouTube channel. It's like, obviously, nothing would happen to this channel, right? I could still do it. But, it would be like as if I had the fear of starting a new one because I would be afraid of what would happen to this one, right? The 2 of wands says you don't even necessarily have to leave something behind, but maybe you have to take something to the next level, or maybe you have to expand or try new things or whatever. And if you do that, you will find success with the 2 of wands. Let's see, I can't get a card, so there we go. With the 4 of swords, you have the 4 cups. So you have the 4 cups twice. Again, he's being offered this cup, and he has these 3 cups here. I'm showing you on the big version so you can actually see it. And he has been disappointed like 3 times before. What he needs to do is apply what he learned from these 3 cups to this 1 cup, and he will find success. So the 4 cups is about accepting a new offer or doing something new with your life, and not being afraid of it because you have the knowledge and wisdom necessary to be very successful with a new offer. Next, in the area of what's coming in for you, you have this forgive card and this observe card. Yeah, it is a good time of forgiveness. Pretty much everyone gets these cards of forgiveness nowadays, so we might just be in a time where we have to forgive. This includes forgiving yourself, maybe for things that you didn't do or things that you feel like you missed out on or whatever, right? The observe card is, I feel, saying you need to observe your thoughts. You need to observe your dreams. There's like that bed being lifted up by that house there, and it's taking the bed away from that tiny little island that's on the card. It's like literally, we are in a very dreamy time. We have Saturn and Neptune both retrograding in Pisces right now, which is a very dreamy energy. And, I always say Neptune is the big impossible dream. Neptune in Pisces wants us to accomplish something that seems impossible. And I feel a lot of you need to follow your dream at this time. You have the Queen of Pentacles, the Hermit, and the 8 of Wands. The Queen of Pentacles you always get with me. The Queen of Pentacles is a card of resourcefulness. I feel that you have been forced to be resourceful since 2016, Libra, definitely. I talk about this with you all the time. I definitely don't think work has been easy since 2016-ish or so. I even think a lot of you, if you've been trying to find a job, have maybe struggled since 2016. It's maybe you've been able to find a job, but, it might not be something you want, or it might not be as fulfilling as you want it to be. There might be something in there. The beautiful thing is that story is changing now for you, Libra. But I think you have to stop living the old story. And so it's if you're always, it's really about, telling yourself the new story is what it is. I think you've had to be resourceful. Maybe you've been living paycheck to paycheck since 2016. And it is hard to change, when you've been in that situation. But, again, first it changes up here, right? And so I would start working on those abundant thoughts and start working on doing things that make you feel more abundant. And I think you would be surprised at what happens if you do that, Libra. And that's really what I would focus on with the Queen of Pentacles. You have the Hermit. You've been on this long-ass journey. Like I said, he's been through a dark night of the soul. He's been trying to get ahead, trying to climb to the top of the mountain, and now he has found his inner light. And like I said, you have the star and the sun, which is a lot of light in the reading. The sun makes the whole entire reading more positive, so I would be shining your inner light. It's really funny when the Hermit comes up, to me, at least. I don't know, maybe it's not really that funny, but to me it's funny when it comes up right now because we have the South Node in Virgo and we have the North Node in Pisces, which is very Hermit energy. The karmic lesson for people who are born with North Node Pisces, South Node Virgo is that in a past life, there's a chance that they went into hermit mode and they were trying to punish the world, and so they didn't come down from the mountain and share their inner light. So as a collective, right now, all of us need to be shining our inner light, and we need to be showing the world what we're made of, and showing the world what we've learned by taking action, because that's what we have to do, right? And that's what the hermit is encouraging you to do. I think it's like saying you need to come down from the mountain now. You've been through this difficult time, and now it's your time to shine, Libra. You have the Eight of Wands. Eight of Wands, I feel like good news for some reason. Eight of Wands can be communication, and I feel there could be some good news coming in. The Eight of Wands can be a quick conclusion or a quick success coming in for you. And, I do feel that energy, but, more importantly than that, the Eight of Wands, we cannot pull in two directions. All those wands are pointing in one direction. So this goes for our thoughts as well, our mindset, how we feel about things. We need to make sure to be correcting our thoughts when they pull in the opposite direction of what we want. And so if we examine our thoughts and if we watch our thoughts, then we can correct them and we can create a better life. This is going to be critically important for you, Libra, over the next, until 2033. We have Uranus and Gemini until 2033. It's going to retrograde next month back into Taurus until next year it moves back into Gemini. Doesn't matter. It's in Gemini right now. It's already entered in. And so I think for you as an air sign, that Uranus and Gemini energy is really going to be about, watching your thoughts and making sure that you correct them whenever you think about it. I always tell people we don't have to be perfect with this. Even if you're just like 51% to the positive side, even if 49% of your thoughts are my life sucks and I'm miserable, that's okay. that 1% difference is all that matters with the Eight of Wands. It just matters that you try, right? And that's what I would encourage you to do. One other thing is popping into my head here, Libra. I think it would be an amazing time for you to put yourself out there more socially, socializing wise with the Hermit. You could be getting a lot of better ideas. The thing about Uranus and Gemini is we have to look at things all the way around. We have to gain as many new perspectives as we possibly can. I don't even know how to talk about this because it's just crazy, whatever. But, all I know is that Uranus and Gemini will really reward getting as many different perspectives as you possibly can. If you're trying to accomplish something, learn from as many people as you possibly can. If you're trying to date, same thing. Learn, there are plenty of dating experts online. Some of them are good, some of them aren't, but, it's learn as much as you can. And if you do that and get as many perspectives as you can, that's what will lead to success, with that card, for sure. So let's see what comes up for you. With the Queen of Pentacles, you have the Knight of Pentacles. Yeah, progress. I think you are making progress. Eight of Wands is also a good card for making progress. Knight of Pentacles can be slow progress, but at least it's progress, and at least it's forward momentum. With the Hermit, you have the Knight of Pentacles. Knight of Pentacles is a big opportunity that could be coming in for you. But the Knight of Pentacles is an opportunity we have to create, and this is definitely the struggle, I think, right now for most people, is that the universe is asking us to work on something that might seem impossible, and it's asking, and also we have to nurture it into existence. It's not going to just magically happen. So we're all being asked to kind of create our own reality, but also there are some challenges for sure in doing that. But I really don't have good advice because we just have to do it, right? It's we all could be having these seeds of ideas that pop into our heads oh, wouldn't it be nice if I started that business or started that relationship? But, it's that next step that matters, which is starting it, putting yourself out there if you want love, whatever. We have to really nurture it. The things we nurture will grow. With the Eight of Wands, you have the Five of Swords. Five of Swords is about taking a risk, and Five of Swords, sometimes we look at it as a challenging card because, sure, it can represent separation, walking away from something, but really it's a card of winning at all cost and trying to win. And usually that's not a good thing with the Five of Swords. He is hurting these two people by having won at all cost. But, is this necessarily a bad thing? No, not necessarily with the Five of Swords. It's sometimes we make decisions that hurt other people, but sometimes those decisions are that hurt other people it's because they're too much all up in our business, Libra. It's because they need to live their own life. And, I think I said this to you in your mid-October reading. It's like the feeling I feel for Libra is, imagine if your parents paid for school for you to go to college. And it's like maybe you're deciding you actually want to do something different. It's like in some ways they might be upset about that. But in other ways, you have to live your own life, right? And I feel like the Five of Swords is saying you do actually, and the Eight of Wands is saying you do know what you want. But sometimes if we put other people in front of that, then, that's where the confusion comes in. And, I've seen this many times, like over the years doing readings for people and everything, where it's like deep down inside, I know that they know what they want. They know what to do. They're just too worried about what other people will think. And, that's kind of the energy I get off of that Eight of Wands and the Five of Swords. Next, in the area of messages from your future self, you have the short illness card. It says short rest, poor health, blockage, temporary problems, weakness, unhealthy atmosphere, standstill. Number one, Libra definitely needs to keep an eye on their environment and what they're surrounding themselves with. Also, the rest of October, we definitely should be watching our health. I said this in the October readings. Again, don't create something. Just stay healthy. You'll be fine. You have this enemy card. It says rival, frenemies, competitor, fights, hostility, be vigilant, opposing ideas, inner conflict, revenge, and clashing. No revenge right now with the Five of Swords. Five of Swords can be like revenge fantasy. And, revenge fantasy is like, it's like if you've ever broken up with a person and then you post pictures of yourself going out on, on Instagram or something like that, right? It's like when we do those things to try to get back at someone. And we've all done it, Libra, right? I'm far from perfect, so I'm not criticizing you here. But again, it's like, why? Is what this card is asking. The other thing that I would say to you, Libra, is clearly you're shining bright. So, there are going to be people who don't like it, and I would just ignore it. You have the Sun, the Four of Cups, and the Justice card in the area of messages from your future self. The Sun is amazing. The Sun is the best card in the deck, makes the whole entire reading more positive. One thing I always think about the Sun is we have this wall behind this child and this horse here. The wall kind of represents the wall that we put up against our inner child. So sometimes I feel the Sun is encouraging you to be more playful, to, enjoy life more, to put yourself out there more. And I would definitely do that with the Sun card. I would have more fun, do more fun things. He's also carrying this big banner here, and the banner is meant to look like something that is heavy, but he can carry it easily. So the whole point of the banner is to create more ease in your life. You have the Eight of Wands. The Eight of Wands is my card of creating a slip and slide in life. In life, we have friction points. What can you do to make those points of friction in your life easier? It doesn't necessarily mean your life is going to be easy. It just means how can you make something that causes friction better? And, there's a million things that you can do. You can change your mind. You can remove things that are causing friction, or you can find a better way to do things that are causing friction. And I feel the Sun in the Eight of Wands is definitely encouraging that. You have the Four of Cups. I think a lot of people have the fear of disappointment right now. It's like, it's kind of funny because I think that Neptune and Saturn in Pisces is asking everyone to overachieve right now. Like I said, Neptune and Pisces is the big impossible dream. I'm begging people to get started on something that is big and impossible, that seems impossible, because again, we will never get this chance again in our lifetime to actually potentially accomplish something that seems impossible. But we have to, but also at the same, it's like the universe wants us to overachieve, but there's also a bunch of disappointments going on right now. And so we have to push past that energy. And we also have to trust in our own knowledge. He has learned from these 3 cups, and he needs to apply what he learned to this 1 cup to be successful. So, I would make sure you're doing that. You have the Justice card. Justice is like cause and effect. Justice is your card, Libra. So whenever you show up as yourself, it kind of puts you in a position of power and strength and allows you to get what you want from the reading. So that's pretty good. With the Sun card, you have the Eight of Cups. Okay. I thought you had it twice. You do. Eight of Cups, basically, he doesn't know if he's walking towards fulfillment. But clearly, without knowing it, you might be walking towards the Sun. The Sun is ultimate happiness, joy, peace, all the good things. With the Four of Cups, you have the Hierophant. Yes, definitely something that Libra is dealing with is traditional beliefs. It's funny that I just said the whole thing about your parents sending you to college. That's like the best analogy I can give you. I'm not saying that's exactly what's going on here, but, Neptune in Pisces is a direct challenge to traditional belief. So we all have certain beliefs that maybe keep us boxed in. And this reading is asking you to like challenge those beliefs that maybe keep you stuck. We also go up to the Eight of Swords. The Eight of Swords, she is stuck only seeing how to do things one way when there are many. So the whole point of the Eight of Swords is to open up to other ways of doing things. With the Justice card, you have the Five of Wands. Yes, again, I'm not telling you to ignore other people, but I am telling you to ignore the haters for sure, for like the next year until the end of 2026, basically. I would just ignore it. There's no need to even think about it. But, again, if you're shining bright, then, obviously there are going to probably be people in life who don't like it. And your job is to just not even give it any energy at all. Next, in the area of the good stuff, you have this Up in the Air card. It says, this situation has many unknown elements due to the influence of others. Are you kidding? You have a Scales of Balance. It says, find balance within yourself and things will balance out around you. Yes, you just need to put yourself first here, Libra. And I feel like that will solve this problem. You have the Eight of Swords, the Four of Wands, and the Seven of Swords. Eight of Swords is like self-imposed restriction, needing to realize that you're not stuck. But, again, coming up in the good stuff, it could definitely represent you getting out of something that you've been stuck in for a while. So, that's pretty good. And you could be getting the clarity as well, is what I'm trying to say, on something that has been keeping you stuck. The Four of Wands can represent marriage, but again, I think this reading is all about you, Libra, and the Four of Wands is the card of freedom, and so it wants you to set yourself free, and it looks to me like you are setting yourself free from hermit mode, and hermit mode doesn't necessarily have to mean that you're not socializing or not getting out there. It could just mean that there's something special, clearly, star, sun. The hermit has the star in his lantern. He needs to shine that light so that he can get proper attention. And so I feel that's where you are setting yourself free. You have the Seven of Swords. Again, Seven of Swords in the good stuff can, number one, say you're not taking things too seriously, which is good. He has these polka dots on his cloak, and the polka dots on the cloak in tarot represents taking things too seriously, needing to enjoy yourself more, needing to have more fun, needing to put yourself out there more, all that other good stuff. So I think it would be a good time for you to do that. I also think that the Seven of Swords, he's sneaking away from this army in the background, and he's stealing those swords. So he's doing something in a different way. It seems to me like you're finding a better solution this week to something. With the Eight of Pentacles, yes, so 10 of Pentacles is your big ultimate vision for your life. And, with the Eight of Swords, this would be about believing that you can have it all. Now, do we ever truly have it all? No. But I definitely think with Uranus going back into Taurus, we are all being triggered to create this. We have like the perfect storm in the astrology to accomplish something that seems very hard. That's why I talk about this all the time, because again, this will never happen again in our lifetimes. And the great thing is we don't even have to start big. We can start very, very teeny tiny small and just take the first step. And, that's really what I want everybody to do. With the Four of Wands, you have the Ten of Cups, which is, fortune after difficulty and the good stuff. I really like readings that have the Ten of Pentacles and Ten of Cups together because it's like double fortune after difficulty or good things happening after a difficult period of time. With the Seven of Swords, you have the Chariot. Definitely like a big win or a victory coming in for you. Even if you are dealing with problems with people with that Seven of Swords, the Chariot could be you finding a solution or setting yourself apart. You have this V card. It says victory in some endeavor. We just said victory on that Chariot. So definitely some sort of win or victory. You have this owl. It says good advice from a wise person. Yes, we are in the time of the mentor. I say this to everyone. And so anything, if you're trying to overcome anything, learning from people who are smart or, finding a mentor, it's just a really good time to do that. You have this hand card. It says in need of help, assistance, or guidance. So again, finding a mentor, finding a person who has answers, learning from people. Definitely, next year, Neptune is going to move back into Aries, your opposite sign. Neptune in Aries is like trust but verify. Neptune in Aries is like everybody looking for a savior. And Neptune in Aries, from a spiritual perspective, wants us to save ourselves. So that doesn't mean we shouldn't learn from other people. What it means is we should learn and then implement. If what a person teaches us works, great. If what they teach us doesn't work, great. We should trust that, right? Now, also, the other danger, I think, of Neptune and Aries is going to be that, just because someone teaches you something or you learn from a person and it doesn't work, doesn't mean that all their information is wrong. It just means that one thing was wrong. So we have to be willing to explore ideas, and especially also with Uranus and Gemini, because Uranus and Gemini, it's like we need variety. We need to learn as much as we can. And if you do that, you'll be successful. But just don't blindly accept what people say. You have this key card that says successful outcome to your problems. There you go. So that looks good. You have this well. It says family wishes come true. 10 of Cups. 10 of Cups is a very good card for your family. But this looks really good here, Libra. So thank you for being here. Make sure to leave a comment. Really helps me out. And definitely enjoy your week.